I just wanted to let everyone know, despite what you would have read in the press release, David has been able to join us earlier than the end of this season, and 2 days ago was his very first day with us, and we're delighted to have him with us. So, David Murdoch, everybody.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, just obviously excited to be here now. It's an amazing country. Been coming here a long time, and certainly there's an amazing opportunity, I think, with this job and the athletes that we have and the systems that we have here to achieve great things. So obviously I need some time to get my feet under the table and figure a few things out, see where everything is, and get to work. I want to get busy.
What are your early observations while you get your sea legs under you?
Yeah, well, it's, I've been watching a lot of the Scotties and a lot of the Briar back home in Scotland, and you know, I see a lot of good things. You know, we know our top teams, we know what they're capable of because they've had a history of great results. But I'm starting to see a lot of the these next generation teams, just how good they are. What they're, it's interesting to explore what their capabilities could be, and what do we need to do to actually make sure they've got an incredible future ahead. So I think that's one that really interests me. So we have to be like very present just now because we want to achieve medals, and that's what we need to do year on year. And obviously we've got the Olympic Games coming up in 3 years' time. But we really need to make sure we've got a pathway for success and be ready for the next cycle too. And I'm seeing some amazing things out there.
How do you protect that next generation who don't get the sponsorship dollars that the big teams get, don't get the carding? There's this big gap now between the rich and the poor in curling, and a lot of them drop out. So what is the solution to create some equality? We're seeing it in Tennis Canada. Dennis Shapovalov, one of Canada's best, saying we've got to protect those B-side players. So what's your simple or easy or complicated solution?
I think what we see with the sport is there's an element of we need to do a lot in training to be ready for competition. So it's going to be an interesting one, just speaking to a lot of the teams to go, well, maybe we can't fly around the whole world, around the globe, we can't go cross country, but what can we do in training? What can we do in our province? Equally, what can we do with Curling Canada or the provinces to actually help support their, their holistic development, technically, physically, tactically, mentally. So I just want to get under the bonnet around a few things like that to see what can we do. That's what I want to explore.
What has Scotland done so right?
I think they've looked into things like that. I think they've looked into the whole pathway from top to bottom. Just how do we view an entire pathway where we see, right, if you want to get to here, where does it start? What does it look like? What's the increments that we want to see as Curling Canada? What do we see as a top level athlete? What does it look like? If we can start to influence that from a junior level into the under 21s, U25s, keep them interested, but giving them that opportunity to do that, then I think we've got something really great because Canada's got so many curlers.
Is geography a big obstacle, or is it our best asset, given that there's curling clubs in every section of the province may be underserved?
There's probably an element of both. I think it's Canada's greatest strength because it's so big and there's so many people. So I think we're just going to make sure that we actually just harness that in some way. How do we bring people together at the right times? It's a big country, but we're good at driving, we're good at flying into the right places. How do we actually put those in the right times of year, the training, and have people to help with that? So that can be overcome. Yeah.
So it's year one of the Olympic cycle, and what are you going to start now to set us up for success, or set Curling Canada up for success?
Well, I think it's important to recognise that there's a lot of good things going on just now. It's not like don't come into something that's broken. Everyone wants to have the Olympic gold medal, and right now we currently don't. But there's a lot of good things happening with that. We have to recognise that the world is caught up. I've been part of a program that's been successful, and the work that goes into that. All these countries around the world are doing that. That wasn't happening 5-10 years ago. So I think it's one of these moments where we go, do you know what? We just need to take a look and see what we do. There's good things. There's maybe things we want to tweak. There's maybe things we want to change. And speaking to the athletes too, I think they're quite receptive to that because ultimately they want success, they want to be the best, and we want to help them be the best.
Sorry.
What is one of the things that you're excited about maybe implementing?
I think it's probably heading down the route of training. Yeah, for me, it's what you do on the ice is a result of what you've done in the weeks before, and the months before, the years before, and we see that with a lot of teams. It's not like it's not happening, but how can we fine tune that to be better for our top teams, or for our teams not currently doing that? Here's what I think we need to do. Because if you really want this, you want to be the best, this is what it needs to look like. And that's probably what I want to encourage most.
How much of a canary in the coal mine was the performance of the Canadian junior teams at the Worlds, both now in relegations? Is that a sign that, again, there's been a weakening at a certain a level in when you're looking at the whole chain of what's happening here? How big a problem is that?
It's tough to know. Sometimes that can just be an anomaly of a bad week, a bad performance. That's sometimes what it can be. Or is it structurally something's not right? Has there been a history of that? So I think we've just got to take a look at what happened. Is it that week? Is it something bigger? Is it a result of COVID, where Canada was probably locked down a lot more than other countries in that respect, and maybe the juniors haven't had the necessary coaching or ice time that has resulted in that. So there's a few elements maybe just to explore.
David, hi. Sorry for being late. There was a high performance review that was done. Have you looked over that? Have you looked at some of the recommendations? Catherine said there's a real will to have some changes, to be flexible. How much autonomy do you feel you have in implementing the changes you would like to see in this role?
I think there's a few interesting things within it. I think everyone's probably recognising that, yeah, maybe we need to do a few things differently. I don't think that needs to be like ripping up the textbook, start again. You'll see, I've mentioned the Scotties, I mentioned this week just how good some things are. Everything's not perfect, but how do we maybe change a few elements of that? But speaking to some of the teams, I want to hear more from them. I want to hear just like, what would help you? What can we do to help you be better? We've also got to recognise that we can't make everyone happy, and I think that's important because there's so many facets to what we do and how do we achieve success, that we have to just make sure that we have a very clear vision about what we want to achieve. The athletes know what it will take to actually to do that, to achieve that, and everyone's very clear and transparent about how we bring this together.
In terms of changes, are we expecting to see big changes maybe heading into next season?
There's certainly some discussions just now about, we've got a few things to figure out in terms of, the trials process. There's been some discussion about wildcards. So we're currently talking with, our HP staff, we're talking with the athletes, and we're just trying to just explore what are some of the solutions to that? Because it's not easy just making it hard and fast about a certain thing. There's a lot to consider. There's so many elements about the sport that we need to factor in. So there could be some changes that we look at, some small changes, and then some longer term things for sure.
Is 3 years enough time, do you think, to get on that right track for 26?
Like I said before, I don't think it's broken. We've got amazing teams, we've got amazing athletes, and 3 years is still a long time. And curling's curling, anything's possible, and we're a strong nation.
What's success going to look like under a Canadian-led David Murdoch high-performance program now?
I think what the first thing I want to try and do is have a program that the athletes are really proud of. I think that's what they want. I know that's what we want, and I think if we can bring that together, then I think it gives us the best opportunity for success. And if we have that, it's played out on the ice, and we're in a very good position going to it. You can't guarantee success, but what you can do is have yourself in a position that you're feeling strong going into that. And if we have that, then I like our chances.
And does that mean bringing more people into the tent, competitors? Especially, I think I'm most concerned about the 20 to 30 age group, which seems to be just in a limbo.
Yeah, I think that whole, like I said, that whole next gen program, it's one that is very important to Curl Canada. It's certainly one that we want to just look at and say, have we got this right? Do we need to make some changes, or what can we do to enhance that? And that's the one I want to really get under the bonnet on, but I need to explore that a little bit further.
How much will your decision making be led by feedback from the athletes?
Hugely in some ways, because we have to listen. Those are some talented people, a lot of experience. They've got a lot of great ideas, but at the same time, we can't, like I said, we can't please everyone, and everyone's got a very different opinion within those athletes. So which one, would you ever agree to on? What we need to do is just bring that knowledge together, bring the knowledge of our HP staff. There's the stakeholders to consider as well. And ultimately, we make a call, and we believe it will be the right call.
David, how does that communication process take place? Does that go through the Athletes Council, or do you have a Zoom call?
Yeah, that's obviously just into the job, but Kathy's had me with the new Athlete Council, and I had one meeting with them, and we're starting to just just explore how we want to work with that. And that's because I think it's quite new too. It's like, right, what can we do that we give you the information that we are considering, and what can you actually look into as well, and how do we disseminate that to all athletes, because we can't have everyone on a council board, right? So I think we just need to do a bit more work on that and make sure that we're getting the right information and they have a voice, and that's really important to me, to Curl Canada, and have that in place.
What do you make of Canada's current Olympic qualification process for the teams and the teams?
I mean, from coming from outside Canada to look at, in some ways we've always been jealous of what this is, because when you walk in here and you see how many teams you have playing in front of crowds, great ice conditions, put under pressure. I mean, that's in some ways, it's a bit of a dream ticket to select a team that's ultimately got to do that at a Worlds or Olympic Games. So there's elements of that I look at and go, wow, that's impressive. How do we keep that, and how do we encourage that? But if we have the strength and depth that the winner that comes out of that is battle hardened, is strong, is capable of beating the world teams on the circuit and in World Championships leading up to Olympics, then there's no greater thing than some of these events that we have.
Why did the British curling model work, and what can you take from that to this? Because for years it was the Canadian model, and over the last bit we've heard a lot about the British model. So what do you want to, I mean, centralization seemed to be key to that.
There's probably an element of that, and that's where I want to focus maybe on. You're starting to see that with some of the teams here too. They're looking at maybe some of what's happened around the world and the detail that some of the programs are going into, and go, that's now what it takes to win. And probably the reason that some of that success has been had is around that professionalisation of training. They do similar things when it comes to competition, play the same events. So what is it that's given them success compared to the rest? So that's quite challenging here, because centralisation is difficult and the funding model is different, and it's a very small group of players in each one of those countries that get all of that said funding. So maybe there's just a few things around what some of those countries do, not just Scotland, but a lot of the countries. How can we maybe just tap into some of those ideas, and can we or can we not apply it to across the provinces, to the HP program, to the next gen, and what does that look like? So that's probably what I want to investigate a little bit more.
And a last personal question, you seem to have the we, as in Canada, down pat, it rolls off the tongue, but just for you, David, what has this been like for you to now be part of this program that you battled for so long?
Yeah, I mean, that's it's interesting, is it, going from Scotland to now Canada, but I've been coming here for 30 years now, and I love this country, I love the people, I know a lot of staff here. My wife's Canadian, my kids are half Canadian, we have a lot of family here, so there's a deep affection for this country, and I'm immensely proud to be in this position now, and I really just do hope that I can do it justice. I'm coming in a program that's had a lot of success, and I want to help continue that, I want to grow that, and I just want to really integrate with our athletes and with our staff, and make something really good.